Yep.
Conservation Commission meeting September 25th, 2024. Present,
David Neiman.
Carlos Adams, Select Board Representative.
Patty Gill, Planning Zoning Assistant.
Jean Walker.
Amy Pollock, Susan Tucker.
First on the agenda is discussion on the site walk of September 4th, 2024. Map 4, Lot 63, subdivision review for a proposed two-lot subdivision created one new lot. The property is located on 200 New Boston Road, owned by Christopher Chandler, and the applicant is Joseph Milani, Zone Agricultural. Do we have someone here to,
Well, it'd be, I would think David
Oh,
would be
David?
talking about, because it's not like you're talking about the
the site
report.
walk?
Yeah.
David or Carlos?
Well, we did the sidewalk, and you've all seen the sidewalk report. So first of all, looking at where the proposed wetland crossing was, I think we all agreed that that was a reasonable location for it and did seem to be the best choice on the site to make that crossing. Although, didn't understand why there was already a crossing already there before approval was given. Doesn't quite seem correct.
Scott Ozana said it's been there for a long time. That's what Joanne passed off to me, that has been there, that crossing.
And so no work had been done on it?
That I don't know, but they have, the
Yeah.
crossing has been there for a while.
At any rate, it would have to be modified to make the correct, to meet the requirements.
Yeah.
But as we walked around on the whole lot, we saw a number of things that we think should at least be checked out by the town, by the town's code enforcement officer, including there's a lot of wetland disturbances, vehicular impacts and fills and crossings that appear to be made without obtaining wetland disturbance permits from the state. An example of one of those was given in the first photo, where you can see the two large old reused culverts with fresh material around it, so that certainly was not a historical and existing one. That looked very, very recently done. Again, there should be permits from the state for anything like that, alteration of terrain, wetland impacts. A lot of trash dumps all over the place, some of them quite large. Some of it clearly is old historical trash. It's probably been stuff dumped on the site for years. And some of it's being picked up, put into piles. That's fine, but there's also other trash piles of uncorroded metals looking more modern origins. And I think that should be looked into by the code enforcement officer, including the one, for example, in photo 2, which is showing a lot of paint cans, fuel containers, and other contents unknown. Needs to be checked out because materials like that should not just be dumped on site. We have questions about the timber cutting because no timber cutting permit has been obtained. Now, one is certainly allowed to cut timber for their own use. There are limits and restrictions on that. We're in no position to assess whether that was the case here or not, because we're not foresters. We can't look at a pile of wood and estimate it, or have the ability to go around looking at the stumps. But it seemed like quite a bit, and think that, again, the town should be out there checking on that to see whether or not timber tax is due. And those issues were covered in the third photo, because there were a lot of rather large cleared areas out there, and a lot of stacks of saw timber logs in various places. And that's the report, so.
Okay. Carlos, you have anything to add?
So there's kind of two general categories of issues that need to be dealt with. One is those that fall under state jurisdiction, DES, which would include wetland crossings, permitted or unpermitted fill on the site, wherever that may be. There was some activity down along the river that was within the shoreline, that would need to be addressed, but those are addressed at the state level. The other general category is what falls under local jurisdiction, and that's some of the issues that have to do with, was this done properly? Do we have the right house, like, say, located, and those sorts of things. There's also a general concern with solid waste, either solid waste or hazardous waste. We don't know what's in those containers. There are jugs and cans and whatnot out there. If that, it's certainly a solid waste, which would fall under state DDS, Waste Management Division, and possibly, depending on what's in the canister, hazardous waste, which would fall, again, under DS jurisdiction. So there's those kind of two general categories, and that's, I think, nicely laid out in the report that David referenced and just cited from. So we as a town need to figure out what our position is going to be and what we're going to do about those issues that do not fall under state jurisdiction. And it seems to me the best way to go about that is to request that the code enforcement officer go out and look at the site and see if there are any violations of local ordinances. It's not our job. Our job is the resources.
Our job is for the
resources, and
right.
we're happy to look at those, and we did look at those and make comment on those. And in addition, the state, either the wetlands program or the shoreline program looks at those, and there's an extensive report in your packet from them that talks about those. So the state's already engaged with those, but to me, the more concern is what's happening with waste and solid waste and possible hazardous waste out on the property. But, you know, the applicants here, they have an opportunity to respond to some of those, and I think maybe it might be appropriate, since we've sort of laid out the groundwork a little bit, to give them an opportunity to react and respond to some of the issues that have been raised.
So, a lot of this needs to go to the state.
What's that?
A lot of this has to go to the state.
Right, correct.
Okay.
And that's cited, that they did the NHB data check, and that's the long report in here. And they talk about all of those things, the wetlands portion, the shoreline portion. So what's not mentioned in here is any of the solid waste or possible hazardous waste on the site. That's a different division within
Okay.
DES.
Is that also a state issue or the town?
Yes.
The state, both of them are
Yes,
state?
right, yes.
Okay. It's
Can
not
I
our
just,
job.
Susan, did you get the report that was
Yes.
emailed today?
I did. yeah.
Okay, I just
read
wanted to
that,
make
yeah.
sure everyone
Thank you.
saw it. Okay.
So this isn't conservation issue at this point, it's more or less through the state to make a decision?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
However, again, the NHB report doesn't speak to the solid waste issues and the
Yeah.
possible hazardous waste issues.
Okay.
So that I think needs to be brought to their attention. Like David mentioned, when we did the site walk, we observed several piles of waste material.
yeah, he
And,
did.
you know, you can't have waste dumps on your property
Right.
unless they're properly located, properly sited, properly permitted if necessary. So
Okay.
it's an issue that needs to be addressed.
Okay, thank you.
And the applicant's here.
Right.
If you want to let him
Do
speak.
they want to speak to that?
Do you want to speak to him?
Do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, please.
He's,
Please come forward and just state your name.
My name's Chris Chandler. I live at 200 Boston Road. So, a couple of things. I purchased that property in 2002. 2022. There was trash all through the woods. I mean, 50 acres of trash, and I'm not kidding you. There was 7 rundown campers. 3 of those campers must have been used for storage. I mean, there were bicycles, there were gas grills, there were paint cans, there were propane cans, there were, you name it, it was in these campers. Okay, so I purchased this land, and I have gone through, and I have spent $7,000 so far cleaning this stuff up. Piling. I have a 14-foot dump trailer. I have taken 8, 9, 10 loads of trash to the dump. Paint cans. I mean, I've collected everything. I specifically put all the paint cans that you mentioned in a big barrel, big bin, because they were old, they were rusted. You know, I didn't want them leaking, for one. I haven't gotten around to taking care of it yet, but I have done so much work to that place, it is unreal. You know, the pile of metal, that was, you know, there's bicycles, there's lawnmowers, snow blowers. you name it is in that pile, and that is everything that was from around that property. There's been no metal hauled in, it's all from that property when I purchased it. The other thing you said was the timber. A lot of that wood down by the lower field there, that is all stuff I have hauled in from my jobs. So that timber was not cut on that property. Three, all the trails you mentioned out back, all those trails and roads have been there for 40 years, the stories that I've heard. So there is nothing new been made out there. Yeah, we ride our four-wheelers, I drive my truck through them, I mean, you know, I manage the land, I take care of it. It's easy to bring my truck down and fill it up with all the shit instead of, you know, using a wheelbarrow or, you know, some other means. So, you know, for you guys, you know, just to cover that topic, I don't want you guys to think that, you know, I inherited all that, brought it in from other places, and I'm starting a landfill, because that's not the case whatsoever. Also, what was the other thing? The driveway that we put in for Mr. Mulaney. We got a permit for 300 feet to gravel that, and we did, and we stopped, and then the rest of that was existing trail. Yeah, I kind of scuffed it up with the machine a little bit, flattened it out so we could drive up in there, because, you know, it's been going on 2 years.
Yep.
And, you know, he wants to get going, you know, I've been helping him with it. You know, we want to continue on the project, and we're trying to been doing little things here and there, and, you know, dragging this out isn't helping either of our cases. And so I just wanted to make everybody aware of what's going on.
Was the culvert already there for that driveway?
Yeah, there's many culverts on that property. that
Were
have
they
been
there before you bought
Oh, yeah,
them?
they've been there for years. Oh, the other one was the one you mentioned with the fresh
Double
fill on it.
culverts with the fresh
That, those pipes have been there, I mean, I don't know how many years, but, I mean, as long as I've been there, and it floods out every year, so the water takes the gravel from the top of the pipes and dumps it right beside them. So what I do is I take the gravel and put it back on top of the pipes, and so we can make it out. That's a nice little swimming hole out there. And so, I mean, there's no major, you know, equipment, there's no major, you know, excavation going on out there, so.
So, a couple of
Oh, yeah.
questions. So, you say you've got a driveway permit, are you talking about a permit from the town?
Yes.
Yes.
To locate?
Right.
Okay, to locate the driveway in that location?
To locate the driveway and go
Yeah.
300 feet in. Yeah.
So you got a permit from DPW?
So what we did, I mean, we were originally gonna take, so the trail we walked that leads to my side yard, that used to come in and wrap around and then join his driveway and follow it up the hill. So none of that stuff's been there for years.
Yeah, so you got a permit from DPW?
Yeah,
for
got
the
a
driveway.
permit for that, yeah. So I hauled in fill to do the first, like 150, maybe 200 feet of it, you know, to get us up to those pipes, and then it's all existing from there on out.
So, a couple of comments if I could. So, I appreciate your efforts of being a good steward of the land to this point, collecting stuff, piling it up and bringing it to one spot. You know, that's,
Oh, absolutely, I mean,
That's
I
all.
love the environment, I love, you know, I have a family of deer
Yeah,
out there, there's
yeah.
7 deer, you know, 2 little baby fawns that, you know, they come eat the fruit trees in my backyard. I have 60 turkeys, I have 30 chickens, a couple goats, you know, a couple dogs. You know, so I mean, I love, you know, nature, the environment, you know, I'm no means trying to harm anything.
and nobody's accusing you of intentionally doing anything.
No, right, but I just wanted to make it clear that, you know, that stuff,
And we appreciate your efforts to
moved
date, but
into that,
it's
you know.
obviously, there's a little more work to be done.
Oh,
And I hope
absolutely, yeah,
that-
and I'm continuing to do it.
Okay, and we hope you're gonna continue and finish it up.
Oh, absolutely, oh, yeah, absolutely. I
Report
will.
back when it's cleaned up so that
Yeah.
somebody come out.
Wait,
I wish
so-
you guys could have seen it 3-4 years ago. I mean, it was atrocious. I mean, you guys probably remember just driving by the front yard, that rundown camper that was leaned off to the side with vines growing through it, you know, and now there's a nice little flower thing and retaining walls with flower beds, and, you know, I've tried to,
You know, unfortunately, you've probably heard this before, when you buy a piece of property, you buy whatever problems come with it.
well, yeah,
They
and
then
that's,
become
and
your problems to
and
deal with.
I've accepted that fact. I
Yeah.
just don't want you know, repercussions of, you know, fines and payments and stuff to, you know, continue,
Yeah.
you know, on something that, you know, I didn't start. I'm just trying to finish it, so.
Well,
mean,
I
it
appreciate-
may be something we come to agreement like in a year from now, if everything's gone, you know,
Okay.
forget about it or something, so.
I
That was
also-
my,
I also
thoughts.
appreciate your statements and, you know, just to be clear, we
Yeah.
we
But this-
walk the site, we
I know you
report,
guys have a
we
job. to
report
do.
on what we see.
Yeah, no, absolutely, I understand that,
And
yeah.
But this waste will need to be cleaned up, just,
Gotta do something with it, yeah,
Oh, yeah, it's gonna make it to the dump or the proper disposal, yeah.
yeah. Transfer station for some.
I mean, I could have been one of those guys, dug a big huge pit in my excavator, buried it all, covered it up, and forgot about it. you
Careful,
know,
you're on
but-
TV.
Well, you know what I'm saying, I'm just saying, I could have been one of those guys, and I'm not. I've spent a lot of money and a lot of time to clean that property up, and I just want everybody to recognize it.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
Yeah,
We do.
no, I appreciate
We just want to
that.
see those good efforts continue.
Oh, yeah,
to
absolutely.
come to an end.
Yeah, that's why I just wanted to make that statement.
Appreciate that, thank you.
okay?
All right, can I make my statement now? What I'm trying to do here? Because I'm trying to develop a piece of land to build a home for my son. So, you know, the whole country is in desperate need of living space. Are you aware that all the group homes for special needs are closed in New Hampshire? They don't have them anymore because they're all the abuses. So there's no homes and groups that they can go into. So the most you can have is three people in a home. That's what I'm trying to develop. So I'm building that for him and other people like him, adults with other issues. So it's not just the whole country needs places to live. These people need places 100 times that.
But you're only building one home.
I'm building one home, but it'll be able to house, you know, more individuals like him, to be able to wheel in and wheel out, and be able to enjoy nature, and be able to come right down in the center of town and, you know,
That's great.
be in a community that accepts them.
We're actually looking at the environmental issues. That's what our concern. We're not saying anything about,
I know,
Yeah.
and I'm letting you know,
Yeah.
my mental issue is, I'm buying the piece on the top that I'm trying to subdivide.
I understand, but like, again, just to clarify on that, we are a very limited scope. All we do is look at the environmental issues, we make comments to the planning board, we don't make any decisions. We're not the ones who are gonna decide whether your project's approved or not. We are asked to go out, look at environmental situation, make our comments. That's all we do. Planning board's gonna be the one that makes your decision, so.
Yeah, We're just.
We're very,
advisory
very
group.
limited scope here.
Yeah, we're just an advisory group to the planning board. And when are you on the planning board? Tomorrow?
No,
The
the
10th.
10th.
10th?
Yeah, Joanne suggested they do a continuance because to get comments from the site walk.
Yeah.
And it's great that we got the report now regarding Fish and Game.
Fish and
so-
Game reports
The
here
NHP
also.
check, data check, yep.
So
Okay.
tonight I would ask that you guys forward comments or recommendations to the planning board regarding this project, so they have it at their
Well,
October
what-
10th meeting.
What is the essence of what Fish and Game is saying? I mean, basically, the report is just saying, these are in the area.
For the
please
people
be
who
aware
are
of it."
working, show them pictures and make them
Yeah.
aware, if you see them,
Be
stop.
aware of it, but they didn't comment otherwise.
And
They
Other
talked
than
about
saying
putting
be-
placards up.
I have never seen a turtle in that.
That's for the shoreline. Yeah.
That's part of the
Not
shoreline
one.
permit, which the shoreline permit will be when they go.
I've never seen a
build the
turtle on
house.
a property,
You need to look a little more closely then.
I guess.
But, and then again, I'd like to commend you for becoming aware of those. We mentioned it too at the last meeting. It looks like you took that to heart and went out and had the NHB check done and conferred with New Hampshire Fish and Game on some recommendations, because we did
They
get a.
live 50 to 70 years and they're as smart as mice. It's like, I like turtles.
So again, thank you for doing that. That was one of our concerns, and like I say, you took it to heart. And now we've got the report for Fish and Game, which has some recommendations and some requirements in it. And we're following through on those, then that's gonna bring that issue to a close.
So we have comments from the site walk would be passed on to the planning board.
Yes.
So Susan wants to say something.
Susan,
Oh, no, okay, so that is done. You've done our sidewalk. Do we make comment now on the proposed positioning of the house and the driveway to the planning board? I mean, can we say it, they're out of the setback? There was a driveway there. It's being improved, it's not like it's new construction in the wetland. They're crossing at the narrowest point. Do we make these comments based on this plan at this point?
That would be fair, yes.
Okay,
Yeah, the crossing that's out there does look like it was put in the least impacting location.
right.
Which is a good thing.
Right, and we need to look at the setbacks
Yeah,
for where the building is gonna happen.
building
We
setback, yes.
that would be
need
the
to make
plan.
sure that is in
Yeah, the
our
planning-
code and whether we're happy with that.
We want to make sure the planning board looks at that as well.
Right, but we wanna make sure that's our comment about the setbacks, because that's our job,
Yep,
to make those comments based on our rules.
Okay.
Okay, so we can do that as part of this
Yeah.
comment? Okay,
No, I think that we can make the statement that based on the plan that is presented, and that if the setbacks are observed as shown in the plan, and it seems to be the absolute intention, that seems proper. And that we are in agreement that the site location for the wetland crossing was the best location.
right.
with
And the
least
driveway
impact.
location is in the best location.
Best
to
location
be
for
on
the
that
least
property.
environmental impact, yeah.
Right,
Your Narrows place.
I think
Okay.
we've all been in agreement on that from the beginning.
yep, and any impacts to threatened, endangered, or special species of special concern are going to be addressed by Fish and Game. And they've
Right.
already responded with a request for information from the applicant,
So
so.
that'll come from the state, from
Right,
Fish and
so
Game.
that's running its course. One thing from the the shoreline program,
Shoreline.
sorry, said they wanted to make sure that they had placards placed
Right.
every 100 feet along the 50-foot setback from the river.
Right.
But that's a planning board issue as well. That can be a condition of any permit from the planning board.
right. That was
But
part
you
of
guys
this-
can make a recommendation.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
that was part
yes.
of this recommendation from Fish and Game.
Yes.
They made
And
that
100
recommendation.
Correct.
Okay, okay. Do we need a,
So we go by Goffstown setback, and then if the state has a setback,
Yeah,
they come in and do
Yeah.
a different setback.
yeah, they have to meet all, they don't.
We do our job. and-
Theirs is different because their setback is for
Two.
the.
Yeah, but the bottom line is they need to meet all local, state, and federal requirements, which includes setbacks. I mean,
Right.
that's the blanket
Yeah. And that should be
comment on that.
yeah, a comment sent to the planning board.
It's part of what you're recommending here.
All setbacks.
Yeah, that they conform to local, state, and federal requirements, which would include
Requirements.
setbacks.
Require.
Which would include setbacks.
Okay. Okay. You made the comment, Susan, about the Narrows place.
the driveway
Yeah.
crossing is at the
So,
narrowest
that'll-
place of the wetland, and
Yeah.
there's already
It's
existing
existing, so. that
crossing
too.
there.
And do you want me to give the planning board this report that you guys have? You want
The
that
one
actually
David had,
published?
yes,
Yes.
Okay,
definitely.
and include report.
And the NHB data check report,
Then,
which is a long one
Mhm.
from Fish and Game.
Do you have any other comments? Sen-
Well, I mean, I find that, again, we just reported on what we saw. I find the explanation on the trash to be entirely plausible, given that sites we've seen other places in town that, like when the town purchased the rail trail land, and we had these massive cleanup days where dump truck after dump truck after dump truck was pulling out everything from
they still
everything
dump on it.
you can possibly imagine. At one point, we walked out of the trail and said to the people waiting on top, "We just found a locomotive down there," and they actually believed it for a minute because there was so much junk. So yeah, unfortunately, that stuff happened. So glad to hear it's not anything new coming in, and
Well, things seem to be heading in the right
And I
direction. I just
understand
want to
your
make sure they follow
explanation for the
through.
paint cans being placed there.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I try to do the right thing, you know, and it's expensive to get rid of stuff like that. Tires
is.
and paint
I
cans,
don't
and
know.
It is.
you can't just throw them in the dump, so.
So
When I bought my property, I had to
Slowly,
Pay for
slowly
crap.
working the way through, you know.
get thrown away.
So as part of the recommendation is also to have the property cleaned up,
Yeah.
the mother lot, or the remainder lot.
I am taking donations for cleanup too.
Do we have anything else?
We would, that's something we might like to recommend and probably would recommend. I don't know if that's a condition that
What?
the planning board would take in for the approval, or is that an ancillary point?
Well, I think I would like to see, or I'd include a recommendation that once the applicant has completed, or believe they've completed the cleanup, that they notify the town so they can do follow.
They do
inspect
follow-up.
To verify that it has in fact been taken care of.
Fair enough. Is there a time limit on that, or just, I mean, I'm trying to go as fast as I can. I mean, I'd say within the next year, I mean, definitely.
Yeah, the planning, that'd be a planning board issue. They may set a limit on that.
So am I passing on that you recommend that the property
Yeah.
cleaned up and then it get
Yes.
verified once
Yes.
after? Okay.
I mean, it doesn't do any good to recommend cleanup and
Okay.
not make sure it's been cleaned up.
I'm just going by what Tammy was.
Yep.
So was this Sue's motion? Okay.
So be it.
We need a second.
And I'll clean it up when I type it, don't worry.
I'll second it.
I see how you did that.
Amy, a second.
Yep, I got it.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Abstaining?
So I'll forward and you'll get a copy of what I forwarded on to them.
Congratulations, you passed through this committee now.
Thanks for your efforts. Keep
Yeah,
up the good work.
thank you. Thank you for coming in and explaining.
Yeah, I just wanna make sure everybody
Makes-
knew, you know.
Makes things a lot easier for us if we
It'll make it
understand.
easier for me too. Well,
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you.
We hope you get your house soon.
It's progress.
Progress.
It's slow. Everything seems to.
Okay, gotta get the elevator. Got the elevator operator?
You're all set with using that, right? Yeah.
So,
Jody knows.
Okay.
corrections and acceptance of the minutes of August 28th. I think the only thing I saw one place, I don't remember the page, it said food instead of flood. It was a
Food
typo.
Instead of
Yeah, I can't remember what it was.
Tam's
I
minute
think it was
taker.
under David's.
thank you guys, have a good night.
Okay, thank you for coming.
Anybody else have any comments or corrections? No. Okay, everyone make a motion on the,
Minutes.
I move accept the minutes with their corrections.
second?
I second it.
All those in favor? Opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstaining? Okay. Let's see, we had a question on a violation, I guess, does that come up now?
Yeah, if
If
anyone
anybody-
had any pictures,
If
remember.
anybody had any other pictures or any information,
Did you have anything? It went to you.
I know it went to me, I didn't get anything else,
'Cause
no. It
We
was
can't
a-
just go on,
It was, well, word of mouth,
and I'm wondering if they even had the right property because of that. Have you read my email?
I did.
That one that developed as you go, they kind of like meet in the back.
Yeah,
So this is 113 East Dunbarton Road we're talking
Dunbarton
about?
Road,
That
Gina
night?
got in a complaint that they were doing filling.
close to the brook.
And then a property, there was a lot like in between and the property over had a permit to do stuff. And I'm like, and Jane had said at that meeting, maybe they're mixing it up with
Yeah.
that property. But if we don't have anything, she can't, they haven't responded to her.
Well, you would know if there was a permit, wouldn't you?
I don't have I have the permit next to it, the different property that was that one did have a permit. And
So the question is, nobody's gone out in the
No.
field to verify
Right.
whether the complaint was on that property or not?
Yeah, because we sent it to the state and the state emailed us asking us if we had any pictures of the violation, because they've notified there might be a possible violation, and they didn't respond to it.
So it didn't come to us first?
It came to Jean,
It came to me.
and then she brought it to the meeting, and
brought
we
it.
sent it to the state, because it would be a state issue.
Nobody on this commission went over there and looked at it. We
No.
didn't have any
No.
pictures or any.
And she was asking if we had any pictures of it.
Right.
Although it says the commission forwarded a complaint to DES. Typically, when DES receives a complaint, they send back an acknowledgement letter saying, we've received your complaint, it's been assigned file number such and such and such and such.
Yeah,
So that starts the complaint.
and then she's emailed asking us if we had any pictures,
Who's
because
she? Who's she?
Jen Droziak.
Oh, okay, thank you.
She was asking if we have photos
Oh,
of
got
it,
it,
because the
gotcha, yeah.
homeowner was not responding.
Got it.
Well, the answer is no, we don't have any
Right.
photos.
Yeah.
Right.
So I passed it on, because I didn't get the complaint, it came
Yeah.
to the chairman.
Yeah. Say, by the way, DES, that's not fair, downshifting it to us.
I know.
I'll just respond, we do not have
That's what I was
we don't have any other
They were
information.
sending it to
I'll
us.
respond that, we don't have any other information.
Yes.
So, you
Is
can
that something
you send
we
that
should
back?
follow up on though? Is that something we should,
I mean, it's really a state
came-
issue.
it is, but it
I-
came to us. Should
Yeah.
we be taking the pictures and forwarding them? Is that our
The
job here
person,
in the town? As
Well,
a conservation
Well,
commission?
no, if you don't have permission to go onto the property.
yeah, you know, the permission can't
We don't
just
have
go on
permission to
there.
go on there, because they're not responding back.
To the
We
state.
could, they could certainly, do we at least know the file number? Because the first thing they do is open a file, give
Well,
a number.
What about the person who first reported it?
Yeah, what,
Does that person
What
have
says,
photographs?
it was the Conservation Commission.
No, it
file.
says-
Came to us.
It was a neighbor that came to Jean.
Right, so does that person have any photos?
I don't know, I can ask.
Yeah, and just email me if they do or
Okay.
not, and then I can
Oh,
respond.
so the commission forwarded a complaint, but it wasn't a complaint from us, it was a
Us.
complaint from somebody else.
right.
Okay, thank you, that clarifies it.
So
Yeah.
maybe the neighbor can take a picture if
Seeing it,
if they're seeing it and then
If
forward
they
that to us and we
take
can
a
forward
picture.
it because.
yeah.
I'll see.
Who she was just asking because they're not responding to them sending them letters.
Yeah, so I was.
So they don't know what the complaint really is.
Right, right.
Okay, the only other thing I see on here is that we did have an email from Courtney Carter to request for a conservation member, and I know she's here. Would you like to
Come on.
Come on
introduce
down.
yourself?
Couldn't see you back in the corner.
Yeah,
I thought the room was empty.
Hi.
Good evening.
You can roll away on you.
I do. Okay. Yeah, thanks for making some time.
Okay.
I had emailed, I was curious, honestly, about getting involved. I don't have a lot of specialized knowledge, but I'm a quick study. I've watched the past couple of meetings and have more or less kept up. So, I don't know. I don't know what you'd like to ask me.
Well, first of all, you watched a couple meetings and you're still interested, that's a good sign.
Yeah, that's the first test.
Yeah, I'm passionate about, the environment and protecting it and maintaining it, so it's not a total snooze fest to listen to people, deliberating over that, I promise. It's not that boring.
Can you tell us a little something about yourself? How long have you been in town? Where you work or what your interests are?
She went to school here.
Yeah, so I first moved here in 1996. My mom, we had moved from Francistown. So middle school and high school I spent here. I graduated from Goffstown High, went to UNH. So then I was here and not here at the same time. And I've been living back in town for a little over 4 years now. And decided I, kind of have a little bit more bandwidth now and time. I'd like to get more involved locally, do more things in the community, help out. And I teach full-time at the Dairyfield School in Manchester. So I teach Spanish there. I'm the World Language Department Chair, and I'm the class dean for the 10th grade. So I don't have a lot going on at work. No, just kidding. I'm very busy. But like I said, I want to do more locally in the community.
You said you were interested in the river?
Well, I think, yeah, when I was responding, and this was, in this sort of not knowing fully what the scope of this commission does, it's not super clear online, just expressing, a lot of what I love about this town is that we have a lot of open spaces, and we have spaces that we as residents can go out and enjoy. And to me, it's incredibly important to protect that, because it's one of our assets, right, is that we have that
You
space.
probably heard that tonight.
Yeah, but I fully believe that, and I love what we've done with the rail trail. I grew up here in the village on Prospect Street, and when I used to walk into the village in high school, it was past that sketchy, used to be factory, whatever was going on back there. So I distinctly remember, the waste and the debris and the mess, and to see now what's become is phenomenal. And just knowing we can use that space, but also keeping the river clean and being able to swim in Glen Lake with my kids, just knowing that it's available and it's in good shape and healthy is really important to me.
Okay. Anybody have any other
So
questions? Or
Yeah, I was just gonna say, there's kind of two main focuses of the commission, and you've probably only been seeing one of the two, because it's what we do the most of. That's everything that comes before planning board comes over to us to comment and review, and we make our comments, but we don't really have a lot of control over what happens, as demonstrated tonight. The other thing that we do, which I wish we did more of, but that's actively protecting and conserving pieces of land, either through acquisitions, but much more commonly through acquisitions of conservation easements. And we work with like the Forest Society on projects, and we work with Piscataqua Land Conservancy on a lot of projects, and with a couple others over the years. Right now, there's currently one active project, but it's been ongoing for a long time. We're kind of stuck in a holding pattern. It's a project with the Forest Society for farmland, the orchard along Route 13 as you go north out of town. Basically, we've been sitting in a holding pattern for months, waiting for the final sign-off of a grant from the federal government that applies to that project. We don't really have any doubt that we're going to get it, and we also got 3 other grants towards that project. But until they actually sign the paper, we're just waiting.
so do you have any questions for us?
Yeah, when all of you first sort of joined up to do this, do you come with a lot of specialized knowledge? I mean, I'm hearing you speak, and you know how a lot of processes work, or state laws, and is that something that can be sort of learned as you go, and there's resources for that? Okay, because that's where I worry. I'm like, I can read a topographic map, and I can ask about, are we planting stuff for pollinators, but I don't know what the state does versus the town.
That's a pretty good start.
Okay. So I said I can keep up, but,
Yeah.
okay, that's
Collis
good to know.
worked for the state,
Yeah.
so he has a lot
The inside knowledge.
input. Yeah.
That's good.
You
And
know,
how, I'm sorry.
And I personally wear the tree hugger badge of honor because of what we do and the value that it brings to the community and the beautiful natural resources within our town. So that's why I do it.
It's a learning curve. So have any other questions, or?
Well, I was just gonna say, one other area where we need to be doing more is with stewardship for properties that we already have, that we already manage.
So
We're not very good at that.
So what would that look
We
like?
should be doing more.
To recommend to her appointment to the select board.
We need, well, for example, they need to be inspected on a regular basis, at least every 2 years, and write a report so we know that there's no infringement being made on the property.
Sure.
We need to make sure that the boundaries are properly marked, and on a lot of it, there's no markers at all. That needs to be corrected. We're currently involved in trying to sort out the South Mountain, which is kind of a logistical mess, because there's all these tiny little lots that, I don't know if you know the history of it, of the old Grand Hotel and all that, and hundreds, literally hundreds of tiny little lots had been sold to people, which have all, through various pathways, been coming back to the town. And we all consider it to be conservation land, but it's not all in the same legal state. And so we're just trying to work out the details of the ownership and all that, which is trying to get everything in the same condition and then go from there, maybe consolidate it all into one big lot and get the boundaries marked and stuff like that, and start doing the annual inspection. So there's a lot of stuff like that that needs to be done. That we just
So to give you an
I
example.
need someone to make a recommendation.
Courtney, I just want to give you one example. The issue we just talked about, the solid waste on that one property,
Yes.
if we had held that in a conservation easement, we don't, but if we had, we would have done routine inspections of it, and we would have been able to spot the accumulation of
Yes.
debris and solid waste early and reported it, so just an example of what that kind of work involves.
Yes.
Do I have someone make a recommendation that Courtney, Patty?
Yeah, recommendation to the select board.
Yeah.
I so move.
Second it?
We have to vote on it too, right?
Second.
Yes.
Does somebody make a recommendation? David.
David motion and Amy seconded.
Okay. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Okay.
So what happens is the recommendation goes to select board because they do the appointments and then they'll vote on the appointment. So it would be as an alternate, because you would be an
Yeah.
alternate member, because you don't have an opening for a regular member.
But like a meeting like this, because we don't have a full board, you will be able to vote.
And you'll always participate in the
And you
conversation.
can get the information, it's just that if there's a full board, then, so, okay, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Seconded?
Second?
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Abstaining?
They
Okay.
stopped you,
Well, this was
David.
this was a one issue
Okay,
meeting.
we are now
This was the